Hello students, welcome to our theory session for matter in our surroundings. And in this session we are going to discuss about latent heat. So we have discussed about the melting point and the boiling point. What is melting point? Say melting point is a constant temperature at which the solid state changes into the liquid state under normal atmospheric pressure. Say we are keeping on heating a solid substance and it is changing into its liquid state. See, whatever heat we are giving, where is it going? Because the temperature is constant. The temperature doesn't rise in this phenomenon. But where is it going? It is somewhere hidden within the liquid. That is somewhere hidden within that substance only. So likewise, boiling point. What is it? Boiling point is the constant temperature at which the liquid state changes to the gaseous state under normal pressure. Right? So that is the boiling point, and here also the temperature is not increased. Say boiling water, it has a temperature of 100 degrees centigrade. It's not 100, 200, 300, 4. It's 100. But I am boiling it. Say I've taken some water, some 50 ml or say 1 liter of water in a vessel and I'm boiling it. Then what will happen? The temperature of the water will remain 100 degrees centigrade until all the water has changed into vapor. Right? So here comes the concept of latent heat. That is, whatever heat we are giving or whatever heat energy is supplied to the substance gets accumulated in it as some latent, gets accumulated into it. Now that particular heat is hidden as the temperature is not increased or decreased. There is no change in the temperature. So that heat is called as latent heat. And it's a very, very important concept, students. It has got lots of consequences in our daily life also. So we'll be discussing about latent heat in this session. So let's start with it. Now what is this latent heat? When a substance changes phase, that is, it goes from either a solid to a liquid or liquid to gas. It requires energy to do so. Why it requires energy? In order to break the force of attraction between them and also to attain the kinetic energy for the movement and also the energy for the movement. So once they start moving, the kinetic energy increases. The potential energy stored in the substance needs to be overcome by the kinetic energy of the particles. Now, why this kinetic energy is there? Which is due to the motion of the particles before the substance can change phase. Now, the energy required to change the phase of a substance is called as latent heat. The word latent means hidden. I'll just try to explain this with the help of a graph. Now, just see this. There's a graph between temperature and energy input. This can be any substance. Here we take water as an example because it exists in all the three phases. Now see, this is ice at this stage, suppose. Right? Now this is a solid. Ice is a solid. Or we can take anything. Now if I have started heating it, see the energy. The energy input is increased this way. Now, as the energy input is increased, what happens? The solid will come to its melting point, that is at this stage. But still it is in solid state only. Right? Now, again, more of the energy is given. When more of the energy is given, what happens? The solid starts melting. Now, at this phase, students, at this phase, the temperature is constant. You can take any scale here. It's a general graph. Now, from point B to C, what is happening? From point B to C, there is energy input. that is energy is given, and the temperature remains constant. That is, there is no rise in temperature over here. And at point C, all the solid has melted to liquid. So between B and C, there is no rise in temperature, and this constant temperature is called as melting point. Right? Say for ice, it is 0 degrees centigrade. This can be any solid. Say if I'm taking it as a water, you'll say that the temperature should go below. That should be, ice is at negative temperature. This is just a graph to show you how this latent heat, or what is the concept behind the melting and the boiling things. Now the phase has changed to liquid at C. Now again there is energy input, so more of the energy is supplied. It reaches to point D. See, the temperature increases. Right? The temperature increases till point D. Now again, from point D to point E, there is no increase in temperature. Right? Students, I have not written temperature scale here. Fine? It is just a general graph. Now, between D and E, there is no change in temperature. It means, again, there is a phase change. Phase change means it is from liquid to gas. Now, at point E, there is gas again. And this, again, if the energy is input, the gas, the temperature rises. Right? So, if the pressure is under high pressure, the temperature can still be increased. Now, do you know what is the difference between vapor and gas? Vapor is also the gas state, but we call water vapor or vapor. See, there's one basic difference between vapor and gas. Vapor is, under normal conditions, the substance can be solid or liquid. And under specific conditions, it exists in a gaseous state. So vapor is the specific condition in which a solid or a liquid substance exists in gas phase. Whereas a gas exists in a gaseous state under normal temperature, under any conditions. Say oxygen. Oxygen is a gas. So under normal conditions, it exists as a gas only. It will not exist as a liquid. It will exist as a liquid at very low temperature. Right? So this is the difference between vapor and a gas. And see here, the concept of latent comes here. Now, from B to C, what is happening, students? We are constantly increasing the energy. We're constantly giving some heat, right? Or energy in any form I'm giving. I can give some electrical energy also. There are electric kettles also. It's not only the heat energy, the electric kettles also. Now, constantly this heat is being supplied, but there is no rise in temperature. So where has this energy gone? Now this energy which we are providing is used for what? Is used for breaking the intermolecular force of attraction. Right? This, whatever energy we are giving is used for breaking the intermolecular force of attraction and converting the potential energy that, see, intermolecular force of attraction have been broken down, and it is also used for increasing the kinetic energy. Right? So now this hidden heat is there. This hidden energy is there. So whenever, say, ice melts, what it will do? It will try to take up energy from the surroundings, and thus making the surroundings cool, or thus decreasing the temperature of the surroundings. Say I had given you the example of beverage with or any soft drink with ice cube. We serve beverage with ice cube, not with ice cold water. The thing is that when that particular ice melts, What it does, say this is a solid ice, I can take it as ice. Now when it melts, this is at the melting point, when it is changing to the liquid, what it is doing? It is absorbing this much amount of energy. From where it will absorb? From the beverage itself. So it keeps the beverage cool for longer time. So serving with ice cools the beverage for a longer time. And that particular heat is hidden within the ice. Say when liquid, let's take up the process as inverse. Say I've taken this liquid. In this container there is some water. Right? When it is frozen, what happens? The stored potential energy will come out, will be released as what? As heat. And it will set into the form of ice. When this ice melts, it will take up this particular amount of heat energy which it released, which the water molecule released. It will take up this particular heat energy and will melt and form water again. Right? So when it is frozen, when it is freezing, it releases the heat energy. When it is melted, it absorbs energy. Fine? Likewise, when evaporation takes place, say at the boiling point, the temperature is constant, but we are constantly giving up the energy. So it takes up energy from the surroundings. When it condenses, it loses that amount of energy to the surroundings. So that particular heat is called as latent heat or the hidden heat. Now this latent heat can be studied under two heads: latent heat of fusion and latent heat of evaporation. So we'll first discuss about the latent heat of fusion and its natural consequences. So let's first discuss about the latent heat of fusion. The amount of heat energy that is required to convert 1 unit mass of a substance. 1 unit mass means it can be 1 kg, it can be 1 gram. From solid state to liquid state at its melting point at atmospheric pressure without any change of temperature is known as latent heat of fusion. Right? So whatever amount of heat energy is required to convert 1 unit mass of a substance from solid state to the liquid state at its melting point, say water, the melting point is 0 degrees Celsius. So whatever heat is required to melt 1 gram of water at 0 degrees centigrade at normal atmospheric pressure without any change of temperature. That is, during the phase change, the temperature is not changed. Until all the ice is turned to water, there is no change in temperature. Until all the ice is changed to water, there is no change in temperature. Is called as what? Latent heat of fusion. This is for any substance, students, right? Now let's discuss the latent heat of fusion of ice. What is it? Latent heat of fusion of ice is the quantity of heat required to convert 1 unit mass of ice into liquid water at 0 degrees centigrade under normal pressure. That is 1 atm. Normal pressure is taken as 1 atmosphere. That is called as latent heat of fusion of ice. For water at its normal freezing point of 0 degrees centigrade, the latent heat of fusion is 335,000 joule per kg. This means if you have to convert 1 kg of ice at 0 degrees centigrade to 1 kg of water at 0 degrees centigrade, how much of heat you require? The heat required is 335,000 joule. Right? This must be absorbed by water. This must be absorbed, or this much amount of heat should be absorbed by the ice, not water. So how much of heat must be absorbed? 335,000 joule must be absorbed by ice. How much? For converting 1 kg of ice to 1 kg of water, 335,000 joule of heat must be absorbed by ice. Right? Now this heat has been absorbed by ice. I'm explaining you again and again and again. This is ice. In this case, the water molecules have got the caged structure due to the presence of hydrogen bonding between the water molecules. Right? Now, when the heat is supplied, see when this 335,000 joule of heat is supplied, where it is used? Where it is used? It is used for breaking these bonds or breaking these force of attraction. That right? Or breaking the intermolecular force of attraction and setting the molecules free. It is not rising the temperature. That is why it is called as latent heat of fusion. That is, this much amount of heat should be given to ice to melt at 0 degrees centigrade. Conversely, when 1 kg of water at 0 degrees centigrade freezes to give 1 kg of ice at 0 degrees centigrade, 335,000 joule of heat will be released to the surroundings. Right? So when the water freezes, the temperature will be more. That is, it will be pleasant. And when the snow melts, the temperature will drop down. Right? That is why it is called as latent heat. So the particles in water at 0 degrees centigrade will have more energy as compared to particles in ice at the same temperature. We had seen that graph. See, this is a solid state. It is heated. This is the phase change. Right? This is what? Liquid. This is solid. So this is a phase change. But still the energy is given. We'll keep on giving the energy. So what will happen? The water molecules will have higher energy. Obviously, water is a liquid, right? So when water is liquid, so particles will be far off from each other. And they'll be free to move. They'll move in all the directions also. Whereas ice is in the solid state. That is, the particles are very close to each other. Not free to move. More force of attraction. So it has got less energy. So this particular sentence you remember, there's nothing to by heart like that. Don't mug it up. I'm just trying to explain that water, the molecules will have more energy as compared to ice. Particles in water at 0 degrees centigrade will have more energy as compared to particles in ice at the same temperature. Now see, there's an equation. Heat energy required to melt ice at its melting point. This Q is equal to M into LF. Now what is Q? Q is the amount of heat absorbed by the solid. It can be anything. M is the mass of the solid. And LF is the latent heat of fusion measured in calorie per gram, or it can be joule per kg. Right? Or latent heat of fusion is equal to heat absorbed during melting upon mass of solid. So if you're getting any numerical related to this, so numerical is not in the syllabus, but I have just given this equation that you can calculate the latent heat of fusion of any substance. If the melting, the heat absorbed during the melting is given and the mass of the solid is given. Now here, this heat energy, that is this latent heat of fusion, it depends on what? It depends on mass of solid. See, it is showing the inverse relationship. This is latent heat of fusion, it's inversely proportional to mass of solid. Right? So, depends on the mass of solid. So more heat will be absorbed when more amount of this substance has to be melted. I hope this latent heat concept is clear to you. I've tried my level best to explain you. We'll discuss a few examples of few natural consequences of latent heat of fusion. Then it will be more clear to you. See, students, it's very easy to just go through the concept, just to mug it up. It's a very easy task. But just to apply science to your natural living or to your livelihoods, it is difficult. So we'll be discussing about some natural consequences of latent heat of fusion in our next session. So now I'll be concluding this session, students. I hope you have enjoyed the session and also understood the concept also. So thank you, students. Thank you for listening patiently, and do have a nice time ahead.